Hello everyone and welcome to our TikTok for Marketers webinar hosted by London Research in partnership with Territory Influence, which is the leading full-service influence marketing agency in Europe and part of Bertelsmann Group. My name is Linus Gregoriadis, Director of London Research, and I'll be the moderator for today's session, which should last just under an hour. Soon I'll be handing over to Delphine, International Marketing Director at Territory Influence.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome.
Thanks, Delphine. And Joshua, who's Account Director.
Hi, everyone. Looking forward to the session.
But first, I'll go through some brief housekeeping points. Feel free to submit any questions through the interface on the Workcast webinar console, and we'll try to answer as many as we can at the end of the session. On the webinar interface, you'll also see a resources section where after the presentation, you can access various TikTok videos referred to in the presentation, and there you'll be able to access the full sound as well. And there's also a Territory Influence ebook available in the resources section as well. For those listening live, after the event, you'll be receiving a link to the webinar on demand, which you're welcome to share with your colleagues and friends. Okay, so to kick off proceedings, we'd love to answer our poll question, which you should be able to see here. And we're asking whether or not you're using TikTok for marketing. And you can actually select more than one option on this question. Okay, great. So without further delay, I'd now like to hand you over to Delphine and Joshua. Very much looking forward to your presentation today.
Thanks, Linus. So we are indeed very excited about today's topic. TikTok is, as you know, very trendy and increasingly important to marketers. So we really wanted today to provide you with insights to help you master this social platform. So we ran this marketing survey across Europe and gathered 33,000 insights, responses that we turned together with Josh here into practical recommendation just for you. Before started, just some precisions regarding the methodology of this survey. So as said, we collected near 33K respondents. They are coming from our own community, so TRND and InCircles. TRND is the platform for consumers and creators with less than 10,000 followers, whereas InCircles take care of the professional creators with more than 10K up to millions of followers. So those two platforms are obviously gathering profiles with very active social background. So this is also important for you to keep in mind for the following insights. We run this survey across 9 markets: UK, Germany, Austria, Switzerland, France, Spain, Italy, Poland, and Hungary. Also, in terms of socio-demographics, you can see here that respondents are not representative to national populations. Obviously, with 84% of female, it can't be. But this is representative to our community socio-demographics. So we do have a majority of female over there. In terms of age groups, so we went for a very broad range of ages to have as many insights as possible. But as you can see here, majority of millennials naturally took part in the survey. And that being said, I would love to start with some facts, figures about TikTok, just to give you some context before sharing the first results of this survey that was, as you can see here, quantitative type. So lots of volumes, lots of figures, again, for you to be guided in this world of TikTok. So let's start with some brief introduction of TikTok. So the app was launched in China, September 2016. It's now available in 155 markets and in 75 languages. It was the most downloadable downloaded apps, in 2020 with 850 million. And as you can see here, last year it did also got a massive numbers of downloads with 656 million. Sorry, that's my French coming back live. It does gather currently 1.2 billion monthly active users. So an intense activity, as you can see, in terms of user and membership. It was originally designed for lip syncing and dancing videos. It now offers short form video content for all type of viewers. And here you can see some extra socio-demographics, so a bit different from our own community platforms, right? So 75% of this audience is aged from 18 to 34 years old, and 18% is coming from Europe. So it does mean that TikTok is for Europe and European marketing strategy very, very relevant to brands. Okay, so what about our European survey respondents? How active are they? Let's jump into the first result. So not surprising, 94%, so a big majority are familiar with TikTok. 88% are active users, and among those active users, there will be, by the way, the ones we are going to focus on during the webinar with Josh. 58% have a clear profile, with picture and activity on it, because TikTok is also generated automatically account when you are registering to the app. So this explains the gap versus 88 active users. 64% of them connect every day, very strong frequency, while 25% connects on a weekly basis, 8% on a monthly basis. And an interesting insight is that more than a third is only watching content, while when you look at the TikTok numbers, so worldwide, 60% of their global users are simple watchers. So obviously, this gap is explained by how active socially our community members are, but still, it remains very strong. So we can really say that TikTok, looking at those figures, can be an only entertaining machine tool where you don't need necessarily to publish content, whereas maybe on Instagram you are more encouraged to at least publish sometimes stories, not only fancy newsfeed posts, but you do have some minimum activities when you when you have usually an account. On TikTok, it is simply not the same. You can be only watchers and going through your feed watching short form videos. And why are actually active users watching content? What do they like? What are their preferences? So the two things that came out of the survey were first, authenticity. 63% love the fact that they are genuine and spontaneous videos. And second fact was creativity. 62% agree that TikTok offers more creative features than others. And we have two case studies to support those insights with Josh.
Yeah, thanks, Delphine. So, yeah, our study confirmed really what we already know from working heavily with the platform on a day-to-day basis, is that, yeah, users expect authenticity and creativity. And to touch on authenticity first, that kind of means spontaneous, genuine content, which is showing a real people, a real window into people's and users' lives and what they're interested in. So in this first case study with McDonald's, we activated 120 micro influencers in Spain to generate user-generated content around their new around Menu for You. And we, as part of that broader campaign, we generated 45 TikTok videos which were posted to their own accounts and also reused on the brand's social page. And the point is here that content isn't particularly, it's not that crazy. It's not, it's not heavily curated, just people just doing that living their everyday lives and enjoying McDonald's. But it's that authenticity and that genuine window into people's lives and that everyday aspect that actually performs really well on the platform. But when I say authentic, it doesn't necessarily mean natural. So TikTok has a lot of filters, a lot of like tech within it, which means people can transform their image, and it's very like can be cut and edited. But so it doesn't necessarily mean natural, but it does mean honest and genuine and real people doing real stuff in their lives. And if you think about some best in class kind of case studies from the UK, so for instance, Ryanair's TikTok owned account, the way that account is run is social media managers' faces are superimposed onto their planes, right? And that isn't natural, but it is authentic. It's showing the true people behind the brand versus traditional curated brand-led content, which an airline might do, which might be the plane, flying through the sky or something. So heavily branded content doesn't perform as well on TikTok. It's got to be a window into and really authentic window into people's lives and brands' lives. Secondly, users also expect creativity, so content that is kind of unique and different and has a different kind of perspective and is talking about something in a new way. And out of all the apps, TikTok is probably the most advanced with tools to enable users to create that content with kind of the editing themselves. But it doesn't just mean fun transitions and fun filters. It can also be how a brand would film the content and kind of what you show. So, for instance, in this example with BMW, you can see there's actually a kind of more traditional professional production going on, but the video is a behind the scenes video showing how they actually created that content for TikTok. And that kind of interplay between like cool content, but then actually also kind of showing how it's done is something also that performs really well on the platform. And in this example, we involved a creator who had 12 million followers, who was a big name on TikTok. So authenticity and creativity are kind of the two key things to really perform well on the platform, and users expect it. And I think this is an interesting quote from a creator that we've worked with called Leon Peltz. So he said, "I would describe myself as a creator, not an influencer. So before I start a video production and as inspiration for my creation, I take my time to really experience and test the product or service. I want to understand what is special and what I like most about it. By doing so, I can best show my followers why I decided to cooperate with this certain brand and let a great creation emerge." And I think the line around being creators and how creators see themselves as entertainers, really a deep connection to their followers. They spend hours on the platform a day. They understand their audience, and they also understand the latest trends, and they really get what's going on with TikTok more so than anyone else can. And so that's why when developing a TikTok strategy, developing content for TikTok, really lean heavily on your creators, because they know their followers and how the platform works better than really anyone else. So yeah.
Thanks, Josh. So indeed, TikTok is, I think we can say that, space for entertainment. At least the respondents agreed all on this aspect. And another insight that was very interesting to us was how they love to spend time on the app. And it's not only spending a few minutes here and there. There is really a trend of losing sense of time. So really this addiction, this addictive feeling that you have when you are connected on TikTok. So 74% feel this way, and 42% would even compare it to other social platforms such as Instagram, and think they would spend definitively more time on TikTok. So we did compare, we did take those insights and checked some more like academic papers, checked some more statistics, and found those actual facts. So 52 minutes spent per day on average, 26 hours per month. So that's huge, as you can imagine, like spending time on a TikTok app. And when you compare versus Facebook and Instagram, you can also see the gaps. So there is definitively a sense of losing time. You scroll down the content, you get trapped into those fun videos. And this is also why we don't really, as an agency, compare TikTok versus Instagram, but we more compare it to a YouTube platform, where indeed you have this video like duration that makes you triggered, like attracted to this platform, jumping from one to the other and losing this sense of time. So this is really particular and very unique on TikTok. Watchers, creators, that they all agreed that fun and funny content is top one expectation and need on TikTok. You can see here a top 10 content category. So we explained earlier that TikTok was born focusing on dance videos and lip syncing. Dance, as you can see here, is actually the second most viewed content category with 150 billion hashtag views. And the number one content creator today, Charlie D'Amelio, with 142 million followers, got actually famous thanks to dance videos. So dance is still today a crucial part of TikTok, but it's not anymore like the unique type of content category you can find. And going through this list, you can see how important sound and music is to make it work. So that's really for us a key to success on TikTok. And according to TikTok's own statistics, 50% of users say that music makes content on TikTok more engaging, uplifting, and energizing, with 88% saying that sound is a vital component to the TikTok experience. So it's been well known for decades that the power that sound has for brand recall. And we would love today to illustrate that with another brand case study with Josh.
Yeah, thanks, Delphine. So yeah, so with Ravensburger, so Ravensburger were launching their new 3D kind of puzzle range for covering Lamborghini, Porsche, and VW, and so we did a full tier influence marketing campaign from macro down to nano to support that, driving social media content about it, focusing in on the kind of TikTok element of that. So we worked, as mentioned earlier, Leon. So we worked with Leon Pelt to help create some really fun, engaging TikTok content to talk about this new line. And so you can see here, we really gave him the freedom to talk about the puzzle in his own way. And so you can see from the video here, it looks like that's a big car, but actually it's not. It's just like a tiny little puzzle. It's the way that he's edited it to make it look like that. And I think the key takeout I take from this is, like, he came up with that idea. It's great. We gave him the freedom to do that himself. He used the editing, the components within TikTok, his own expertise to create that fun content and to use music and all that kind of stuff in the right way. So again, as I mentioned before, really leaning on your creators to help design and create great content that's going to work really well within their communities, who they understand better than anyone else.
Mm-hmm. And as we say, the more the merrier with this fun and funny content. So another insight coming from our survey, 90% share TikTok videos with their friends. So that's also very powerful in terms of how viral, how contagious content is on TikTok. And that's also another marketing opportunity for, brand content and collaboration with creators. And in the briefing phase, thinking of what could trigger like this virality, what could make my content viral, what will encourage viewers, watchers to press that button and share it with their friends. So that's really something we again encourage you to think of in your briefing phase. And so it's not only about fun, right? So entertainment for sure is super important on TikTok, but edutainment is even more powerful according to us. And as you can see here with extra facts figures coming from the survey, 84% of the active users know they can learn a lot on TikTok. 72% actually said they've learned something very recently thanks to a content creator video, and 64% explain that the why they follow creators is actually for learning from them. So again, education plus entertainment. So edutainment is for us a very powerful tool on TikTok to drive interactions and achieve your marketing objectives. And talking about marketing objectives, we have again a new round of case studies with Josh.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, so like education from a brand perspective can couple of different things. So we've kind of shown 2 different examples of these kind of educational content to bring it to life. So the first is with Law Barista. So they wanted to educate around the 5 different senses that influence your kind of coffee experience. And so from smell, taste, touch. So we worked with 5 different influencers to create content around which kind of brought to life the importance of those 5 different senses for coffee tasting. So with Monsieur Lefebvre, he took over the challenge and he focused in on sight, and he filmed his girlfriend with a morning routine, and also did a 24 hours before the publication doing a kind of behind the scene production of like how he made the video. But we use these different influencers to educate about different aspects that were important to the brand. But another way of kind of seeing education is more around tutorial-led content. So in this second example with L'Oreal, here the idea was to create awareness for their new hair dandruff shampoo. And so we chose 3 different TikTokers, 2 with kind of funny kind of content that would kind of be able to connect to the frustrations and the realities of living with dandruff day to day. And then one creator who is a doctor who could then educate around, as an expert, around how to kind of solve for dandruff issues. And the key thing is we tapped into the benefits of both. They were connected. So the videos would start with maybe the fun kind of like kind of emotional connection, and then stitched together with the doctor who could then provide some expertise and then recommend L'Oreal. And so that kind of collaboration works really well at driving collecting the benefits of both. And then additionally, what we did then is we used media boosting using dark ads to get the content out further, which is an extra really useful tip for as in all social platforms, to make sure to guarantee the reach of your content. Like if there's reach can vary really for these videos, and if you want to guarantee certain levels of reach, if you put page behind it, it really helps to get the content to your desired audience. So to wrap up this section a little bit, what are kind of like the kind of tips for us as kind of brand marketers for doing successful marketing on TikTok? So first of all, as in all marketing, it's about understanding your audience and the particular community that you want to tap into within TikTok. Everyone that uses the platform gets served different TikTok based on their interest, based on the algorithm. The algorithm is super advanced and complex. So, and then there will be particular communities who will see similar content. There's influencing communities, gaming communities, beauty communities. So first of all, you need to match up your product to the community that you want to tap into. And then once you've identified that community, you need to think about, adopt a content first strategy and think about what is going to perform well and best with them. So, for instance, for products within the home care category, you might want to tap into cleaning videos and the kind of clean entertainment communities that exist on TikTok. So with those communities, music, authenticity, fun transitions, that they really enjoy those communities. And if you create content like that, the algorithm will support it being shown to more audiences. Where say maybe you have more of a tech product, and if you want to tap into kind of then maybe gaming communities, for instance, there the content is much more comedy led. It's light-hearted. There's a lot of interaction within the community, and actually like the community kind of rinsing each other and talking about like how maybe they didn't do so well in the game or something. There's a lot more light-hearted and a kind of rinsing culture, and so you'd want to create content like that to kind of perform well within those audiences. As I mentioned before, creators know their audience better than anyone else and are closest to the trends that work within those communities. So even more so than say like Instagram, really lean on your creators to create the content that's right for that channel. And don't try to control them. They know their audience, so tap into them to create the most authentic creative content. An extra thing to note is TikTok is probably a bit less plannable than Instagram. So with Instagram, if someone's got 100,000 followers, it's probably going to get about 30,000 reach or 20,000 reach, something like that. Whereas on TikTok, having a large number of followers does not necessarily translate into a particular video getting lots of views. So a creator with 10,000 videos, 10,000 followers, sorry, could generate millions of views for you, whereas a creator with 1 million followers could generate 10,000 views. So therefore, we recommend when working with creators, work with a range of creators to spread your bets. Look at kind of different profiles, kind of experiment with different profiles to see like who's going to deliver the best results for you, and also look at their history of performance. So don't just look at followers, look at how many views they get, and really, spread those bets and maximize the chance that you will get great performing content. And then the best performing content you can then actually put even paid media behind to then drive the reach of that even further. So test different formats. So look at entertainment, education, edutainment, look at to see what works for your brand, and this is more relevant for brand owned pages, but it's true for all profiles on TikTok. Is the algorithm will support you if you post frequently. So having a kind of intermittent strategy, a content strategy, is going to actually damage the performance of each individual video. You need to be posting regularly, aiming for like at least once a day, maybe, to make sure that that TikTok sees you as being an active profile and will support your content reach further.
Thanks, Josh. Before continuing, we received into the chat some comments regarding the fact that the slides were blurry. So hopefully that will improve. It might be a connection thing. If not, you will receive anyway the document afterwards. So don't worry about it. You will get all the text and all the recommendations after the webinar. That being said, let's move on with our second chapter about shopping. This was actually the results of an investigation we did based on this fact coming from a Kantar study that 91% of users take some action following content they see on the app, and a quarter of them would actually research until eventually purchasing a product, a service they saw advertised on TikTok. So we wanted to confirm that with our survey and just asked our creators and consumers if they would purchase something after being on the app. And apparently, yes, for 70% of them, so product or service, they would buy it. And beyond the purchase action, they would also share it. So I don't know if you know this hashtag TikTok made me buy it, but that's also a big trend we've seen on TikTok, that you don't only buy on the application and are influenced by others on your decision making, you also share what you have bought recently, so different type of content category, and use this hashtag to be listed and to guide, help others to make again the right decision. So based on this fact, I think, and the following figures, I think we can say TikTok is a serious social commerce player. TikTok actually says they are community commerce player, but quick definition on what is social commerce. So it's the use of social media to drive online sales directly on a social platform. So TikTok here in this case. So we know that in Europe, social commerce isn't technically yet ready because the checkout process isn't there yet. So TikTok is announcing a checkout process for 2023, so next year. So in the meantime, we do have alternatives to push sales and to push shopping opportunities. You will see them shortly with Josh. But still, users, you can see, can discover brands. So 63% recalled having discovered a new brand on TikTok recently, and 46% actually bought something recently because of TikTok. So we're influenced and we're aware of this influence. And finally, also for the future, as part of the social commerce area and opportunities, 72% would take part in a shopping event live, of course, with the new options. But we also have other products like pre-recorded. So shopping events in general would be also very much attractive and interested for our respondents. More observations coming from TikTok with a European study. So sticking to this region, 71% would agree that TikTok inspired them to shop even when they weren't looking to do so. So this statement is also very powerful to say that TikTok creates new moments, new touch points for shopping. You don't go on TikTok to, with a clear purpose of I'm going to shop something, but because of the content, because of the exposure, you might actually do spontaneously a purchase. So it's really creating new excuses, new moments for shopping. 56% agree that the platform has helped them decide what to buy. So again, the decision-making influence. 67% of TikTokers believe that the platform helps them get ideas about brands, products they would have never thought of before. We actually have the perfect example here with a review that was published, like a 5-star review from Christani about a toaster. So quite a surprising product category on a TikTok for a TikTok purchase. She says, I only bought it because of TikTok, but I love it and I have no regrets. Definitively recommend it. So funny to see that again, this spontaneous, this phenomenon is quite powerful and happening again for whatever type of product, service. And this person wasn't even able to explain the why, just TikTok was the excuse, and now she's super happy about it. Final fact coming from TikTok, 46% of users who bought something on TikTok said they were inspired by product demonstration videos. So this is also close to what you said, Josh, earlier, with the type of content and the tutorials being and the product oriented videos being super interesting to marketers with this education plus entertainment, so edutainment trend.
And yeah, so TikTok can really be used to support every kind of stage of the purchase funnel. So whether that's from pre-purchase, when consumers are kind of they're not even looking for a brand, they're just kind of exposed to content which gets them interested in basically potentially a product. Exploration, you can use it for exploration. So kind of think about when browsing starts to happen and when consumers get inspired and start to discover that your product could be one of them. Evaluation, where consumers start to kind of build their consideration and they start to specifically compare products and prices. Purchase, so TikTok has developed and is developing the technology to do purchase in app, and then post-purchase, so after products being purchased, product reviews and all that kind of stuff. And you can, as a brand marketer, you can think about or it's important to think about which steps do you want to focus on. Do you want to cover the full purchase funnel? Do you want to focus just on discovery and post-purchase? And then designing content which is going to help support that content. So, for instance, if you're kind of a very e-commerce focused product, actually using their purchasing tools like live shopping, for instance, could be a really interesting area, and I'll touch on more on that later. But say if you're more bricks and mortar brand and your product's really only available in store, you might want to support maybe discovery and evaluation and maybe some post-purchase. And so we can kind of help advise on the right kind of strategy for your brands. But I think it's important to think about, what do you want to be supporting? Do you want to be creating tutorials, challenges, unboxing videos, reviews, and the kind of role that they're going to have within the purchase funnel? To touch a bit more on the kind of purchase element and the kind of social commerce elements of TikTok. So social commerce is kind of one of the fastest growing areas, I think, of interest for marketers, is what we're seeing. And we know in markets like China, for instance, they're much more advanced with terms of live shopping and a lot of the technology and kind of the interaction between social and shopping than we are in Europe. But what we can see in China is kind of a prediction, is kind of the future for what it is going to be in Europe for us. And live shopping and social commerce is here and going to be even more here in the future. So we know it's going to be a really important purchasing channel for a lot of brands moving forward. And TikTok is kind of leading the charge in this area. So they're developing and rolling out technology to enable shopping within the app. And we know TikTok users are 1.7 times more likely to have purchase the products they've discovered through the app versus similar platforms. So what kind of stuff can you currently do with TikTok? This is definitely the case for the UK, and it's coming to other European markets too. So TikTok shopping covers a range of different features, but for instance, TikTok, you can use TikTok and they can manage everything for you within the app. So from product upload to point of purchase, shipping and fulfillment, they can kind of do all that for you, and you can partner with TikTok to create these kind of product pages where people can buy your product. But you can also actually now embed third-party partners like Shopify, so to use their kind of interfaces to like help then coordinate and then distribute products. And actually, they're also TikTok's now rolling out an API which allows businesses, brands to integrate their own DTC sites or maybe another e-commerce site, if you have the right agreement, into the TikTok experience itself. So when you're within TikTok, the interface you'll use will look like your own e-commerce site in terms of at the bottom of the page. So they're rolling out these different technologies for different needs to really enable you to not have to leave the platform to be able to have these shopping experiences. And this is really valuable for stuff like live shopping. So this is something we're helping, we're helping a lot of brands are really interested in the moment, and we're helping them to coordinate. And it's relatively new, and brands are learning, we're learning, but live shopping is going to become more and more important. And just to clarify what live shopping is, so live shopping isn't just live streaming. It's not just a creator and influencer talking about a brand. It's about the influencer creator talking about the product, doing product demos, doing a deep dive into the product, and then with the host interacting with questions in real time, so responding to the kinds of questions that viewers are having, and then importantly then enabling users to shop the product catalog in real time without having to leave that interface. And obviously that's very powerful, it's very authentic, it's very trustworthy, and as you're choosing to buy a product, if you can hear the creator, the influencer talking about it, it's going to make it even more likely that you buy the product. So TikTok's building this functionality, and I'd say this is going to be an important thing moving forward. So being a first mover in this potentially within your category could be really interesting to try and start learning and trying to building your own capability in this area for the future. They also, TikTok's developed kind of different ad creative and different ways of serving ads, so you can see your full product portfolio. So yeah, they're developing lots of innovations to help really support e-commerce within the app itself, and we can help you understand what is the right social commerce strategy for TikTok and for your brand and for your category, because different categories suit different tools and different approaches. So then just to cover a few marketing tips. So it's really important to understand the kind of social commerce journey, which areas you want to focus on within the app, within your strategy for TikTok. So do you want to support the full purchase funnel, or do you want to support just discovery, for instance? Really, as I mentioned before, so when it comes to kind of thinking about e-commerce within TikTok, that's then becoming you're having a more conversation, and we're thinking about kind of cost per sale and cost per acquisition, and that's where therefore using a mix of organic and paid and boosting sort of traffic to say a live event is really helpful, making sure you've got some guaranteed reach behind your post to make sure that you're getting that traffic and getting that conversion into sales. As we mentioned, hashtags are super important and critical on the app, and playing in space of like TikTok made me buy it, that kind of hashtag feed can really help to get your content noticed, and yeah, is a great strategy for helping to like build awareness of your activity. As I said, being social commerce is here and live shopping is here and going to be even bigger. So there's, I think, a huge potential competitive advantage by being one of the first brands to play in this space. So starting to learn now, testing, experimenting, working out what works right for your brand, and also potentially starting creating relationships with retailers for these kind of activities. It's something big that's coming, and being an early mover could be a big competitive advantage. When doing stuff like live events, so we're doing some at the moment, and key things to kind of know about them is that it's important to really prepare for these, so they're live. So, you know, you could maybe just not have you could potentially wing it, but actually, you know, we recommend having a script, making sure that your creator knows what the kind of key message track is, and importantly, what they can and cannot say about your product. With a live event, there's no review process, right? The content's live and it's out there. So you need to be really clear if there's any kind of constraints about what you can and can't say about your product. It's important to brief that and make sure your creator really knows what they should and shouldn't say in advance. And also, you know, make sure you're driving traffic and using promotional videos and stuff to different events to make sure you're getting good conversion. And finally, you know, it's typical with you can think with social kind of commerce that it's actually really for kind of brands that have a good presence on e-commerce sites, but actually, you know, we've seen a lot of examples, and it can be a for even like bricks and mortar brands, thinking about how you can bring hype to what's happening in your physical stores can work really well. So it doesn't just have to be kind of e-commerce focused brands.
Thanks, Josh, for summarizing the shopping chapter. A few last charts before the Q&A session. So we focused so far on active users, but having a quick look at inactive users and non-users, we can see that there is still a big potential for growth for TikTok. So 73% of inactive users said they would be interested in TikTok and would use the app in the future. The reasons why they are not currently active or basically because they don't have time for it, like it's not a priority, but it could become a priority in the future, or they're not interested in short videos, but because also TikTok is providing more and more options, is also offering longer formats. Maybe this would be again interested in the future. TikTok seems a bit complex, so of course there are new sophisticated options. It's different from the other platforms, so you need education, but I'm sure with time it will become like more and more something you can adopt and understand. So yeah, those reasons why are for sure not long-term breaks, and people see a strong interest in this app. For the non-users, so 74% would register on TikTok for a brand collaboration. So again, when it comes to influencer marketing, creator collaboration, no matter the volume for audience, so no matter the volume of followers, because it could start, you know, very low in this pyramid of influencer marketing. This would be the perfect excuse to join the TikTok party and connect and create an account and customize a profile. To give you the details, so 43% would probably register for a brand collaboration, 31% would definitively register for a brand collaboration. So this is again quite interesting and showing that TikTok is a trendy app, attractive app. The desirability regarding TikTok is very high. So again, this confirms that for the future, there is a big potential for growth for TikTok. And we are going to end with a last wrap up from Josh.
Yeah, and so what I would say is, like, you know, TikTok remains like is a new, well, relatively new compared to some of the others, an innovative and growing app, and it's kind of the growth platform of the future, and its user base is incredibly diverse, with a number of different communities using the platform with different interests. And you know, it's not just about Gen Z dancing around anymore. There are different people and different communities that are using the platform, and so the growth and dynamism of the app makes it a super important place to play for brand marketers, but it is also less plannable than, say, Instagram, right? It's potentially a tougher platform to crack than other platforms. Like, KPIs are much harder to predict. You know, you don't know how well a video is going to, a piece of content is going to do. So you need to find your authentic, fun, entertaining voice and your role within the platform, and work with creators that are going to create content that matches that kind of voice and that interest. And I think what's really important is to focus on content quality and focus on the content and the types of content and the the approaches that work within the communities that you're trying to reach. And like bad content just isn't going to cut it. The algorithm is going to support it. So really lean on your content on your creators to help design your content strategy. And experiment and learn. So try different approaches for your products, create content for different communities and styles. You will have successes and you will have failures with your content, probably, if you're just starting out. So also just to experiment with different stuff, but also the algorithm really quickly tells you what kind of content is suitable for your brand and what doesn't. And you'll start to see that, as you know, some content will get more views and some content won't, and you can start to draw learning from that. As I mentioned before, social commerce, live shopping is coming. It's wise to start experimenting now if you think it's right for your category and your brand. And really lean even more heavily on your creator partners and agencies than maybe you would with, say, other social media activations. Creators, they understand their communities, they spend hours on the platform every day, use their eyes and ears, and they know what the latest trends are, so really help them to develop your content, and also lean on your agencies as well to help design that, who work across brands and categories and can bring in that expertise and knowledge to help shape your content strategy. I think that's it. Back to you, Delphine.
Yes, thanks for the wrap up. I think it's time for the Q&A session. Thanks everyone for your participation. If you do want to contact us afterwards for some one-to-one consulting session, you have here our contact details. So hello-influence@territory.group. So this will be to contact Josh and I after the webinar.
Thank you, Delphine and Joshua. That was great presentation, such an exciting platform, and I thought you were providing so many useful stats and tips and insights that there's a lot, I'm sure, for our attendees to think about how they can apply this to their own brands. So let's go into the Q&A. Good to see some questions coming through. We'll take one first from Genevieve, who's asking, where do you find influencers to collaborate with for TikTok?
Yeah, so good question. So like we said in the methodology for the survey earlier, we do have two platforms, two tools, two solutions to find the right influencers for your marketing campaign. So below 10,000 followers, so for nanos and the small micro influencers, you would have TRND for the real network dialogue. So trnd.com, we have this interface across Europe, all the major markets, again, to put in place nano micros under 10K followers for you. And for the professionals, so above 10K up to millions of creators, we have In Circles. That is, again, another platform used to collaborate with professionals. So that is also including, setup of contracts, dialogue for like negotiations, and all the tracking reporting with the dashboard integrated. So those would be the two platforms we can recommend you as Territory Influence, two solutions we currently use and owned. So own technology for the two typology of creators.
Okay, great. And there's another question from Andrew, who's asking whether he can reuse TikTok content.
Josh, do you want to go ahead?
Yeah. So I guess there's two aspects to this question, right? So you can one, what you can do with it. So if a creator has created that content, you can reuse that within your own brand-led channel, and you can reuse that and put paid media behind it to really drive reach on that content. But also, I think what's valuable about TikTok content is that really often it's the kind of best kind of content you'll get out of influencers at any platform, and so then that
content can then be repurposed to be used in other channels such as Instagram, and it also can be repurposed to then be used in adverts or digital advertising as well. The creator-led content we know is really powerful. If you're collaborating with creators to create that content, you then need to set up special contracts and make sure you've got the coverage to be able to cover, whether it's reused on your own channel or whether it's media boosting or reused in other channels. That's when experienced creators will start to then ask for more money. That's then when it's helpful to have someone helping you to coordinate and contract that. So yes, I'd say it is the most powerful form of content that influencers can really create. Anything you'd add, Delphine?
Mm-hmm. No, maybe to say that the other way would not work. So recycling TikTok content, yes, but recycling, for instance, Instagram content and trying to push them on TikTok, no, not really. For all the explanations we we have shared today, I mean, the codes of TikTok are so particular. We need to adopt them and we need to customize the content production, like the process, the whole thing. It cannot be an Instagram video coming to TikTok, and actually also the other way. So for a time, we've observed creators trying to push TikTok videos on Instagram for the Reel section that is now available everywhere. So we figured that actually the algorithm of Instagram was hurting the content that were coming from TikTok, if at least the tracking was possible. So if you were repurposing, so really cleaning the video and not giving Instagram algorithm the sign that this was coming from TikTok, could work. But for sure, when Instagram was identifying that you were reusing a content coming from an external platform such as TikTok for Reels, this was jeopardizing your view, your reach, like your KPIs were decreased because of this origin. So let's really be careful when it comes to leveraging and recycling. There are ways to do it, but we need to be smart about it. But I agree, it can be a great opportunity, especially for traditional media such as TV ad. We see more and more often TV ad integrating UGC, so user-generated content, including sometimes TikTok, very creative videos. So I think that's a great option for marketers.
Interesting. Thank you. Yeah, I guess companies are feeling their way at the moment and starting to understand the rules and algorithms as is the case when a new growth platform emerges. There are various tricks of the trade and things that marketers need to be aware of. So that's very helpful. A question from Eleonora. She's asking, is it still worth launching a TikTok channel if we don't get much video content from our stakeholders to share? Is relying on user-generated content and influencer content enough?
Josh?
When you so stakeholders, it'd be interesting to understand quite what we mean by stakeholders. But yes, I think what we see from the most successful, well, actually, I don't think there's any hard and fast rules with TikTok. The most important is if you have a brand-led account, having a point of view and a reason for being there and having something to say, I guess. So like they can be fully generated with user-generated content, people using your product and people driving, people experiencing your product and enjoying it. Or, we know that brand-led accounts where it's actually really about the company itself, and it's kind of about the employees of that company, and it's really led by the social media brand managers, them kind of talking about their experience day-to-day at work. Supermarkets, lots of supermarkets now, it's like their TikTok accounts are populated by their in-store colleagues creating content. So I think
my recommendation would in terms of creating is first of all defining what it is you kind of want to say about your brand, what you want to say it is, what it is you want to say about your company, and then identifying if you've got the right content strategy to be able to fulfill that. But I'd say TikTok is a really big growth channel, so I'd say it's probably worth launching one if you feel like it's right for your brand. Delphine, anything you'd add?
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And this actually HR employer branding perspective, I think, is super interesting because TikTok isn't only, to sell products, sell services, and promote your company. It's actually also promoting your company for HR purposes. So having this window to, I don't know, your office atmosphere, like who you could join in a couple of months and so on. So I think TikTok is great as well for like the hashtag office, hashtag team type of content category. So you have so many, excuses, so many ways that I think it's indeed a great thing to try. Again, there will be multiple trials necessary to understand what is the secret recipe for your brand, for your company, for your audience. So there might be, yes, content that doesn't work, but that's okay. It's really just about maximizing, again, outcomes. It cannot hurt to be on TikTok. Of course, it cannot be the best KPIs if you don't post every day, but if you don't have the resource power, that's fine to not post every day. We are just, giving tips on how to maximize, how to make the most of an application, of a marketing strategy, but it cannot hurt to do the minimum and the what you can do with your current capacity. So I think that's a good learning as well to stress today. And also when it comes to capacity, again, if you don't have this capacity, let's leverage. So you were talking about UGC. That's a great first thing you can create and reshare easily. And then, of course, content creators. So let's use their creativity power. The more brains, the better, outcomes. The less you have to stress about what I'm going to share today and tomorrow and the day after. Like having those super inspiring accounts profiles working for you and having very light briefing to, again, have new ideas, new angles for content production, I think is also a great solutions versus capacity versus limitations you might have internally as a company.
Okay, great. And there was a related question in a way. So Agnieszka, I hope, apologies for a bad pronunciation there of the name. She's asking advice for unusual types of product like catering, gastronomy, home and garden, available for B2C and B2B. Is TikTok a good platform for those areas? I guess Joshua was talking about having a point of view and opinion. I guess that would apply there. You talked about your own secret recipe, which I guess would be relevant for the world of gastronomy. Have you seen successful brands in any of those areas?
Yeah, so we do have, we do see those. I mean, we also work a lot with like banking, insurance, and so on. So it's not only about, beauty, food industry, like the classic, easy, sexy product category. So for sure, it is challenging. We need to create, again, smart strategies and to think this through and, again, test, learn, and see what is working for that industry. But yes, there is no limitation when it comes to sectors. Actually, the insights we shared earlier about TikTokers thinking the platform helps them get ideas about brand products they would never thought of before. So they are discovering, they are surprised every day by connecting on TikTok. So they are actually open to, again, those new industries, those different industries. So I don't think it's a minus to be that industry on TikTok. On the contrary, they love to be surprised, they love to discover new things. So it could also be an opportunity, to emerge, to be different, to offer something new, a different value for a new content category. So I think it's actually maybe a strength at the end. So yes, not easy. You need to find the right content creator. You need to understand what is your audience. I mean, is your audience on TikTok? So that's the very first question you need to ask yourself, right? So that's, of course, the most important ones. But if the response is yes, or I would like to rejuvenate my audience and attract those ones, then I would say, let's go forward. Let's check out the options. Let's create this squad of various, diverse profiles, like Josh said earlier, to see what works with that particular subject. But yes, I think that would work. Don't know, Josh, if you have another.
Yeah, I was just one quick thought is like, I think if you go on the platform, like I've seen videos on there from people who like are doing thatching, like roofing. I've seen people who are doing like moving companies and moving stuff around. Like there are lots of niche industries that are on TikTok talking about themselves. So I think it's, first of all, so there's definitely will be people within your niche industry who will be on there, and you would have a right to play there. You just have to identify, as Delphine said, what is the objective of you playing there, and then you can create a great strategy for it.
Okay, a question from Barbara. We're running out of time now, but I think we can squeeze one or two more in. What options are there on TikTok to protect a brand from harmful content?
That's a very good one. So brand safety is always a tricky question and area. So it depends on what we are talking about. I mean, if it's about influencer marketing and creator collaborations, for sure, if you are in a sensitive industry with lots of rules, like regulations, like laws and so on, we would for sure advise to go for the professionals, where you can have contract and agree on the briefing and even check the content before it's out there. So you have approval processes in place to make sure the do and the don'ts are well taken into consideration. So that's the first. For sure, when we talk about UGC, so user-generated content, so the super organic one, the very spontaneous one that are published naturally every day by consumers, users, clients, those for sure, we can't really do anything about it, but it's the same rule on every social media, right? We are all entitled to publish content every day and to tag and to mention and to say whatever we want. I mean, that's the rule of social media, and that's how it was designed, right? There is no limitation. Of course, by engaging regularly with your audience, by working on your image, your values, having the right communications, you might decrease or diminish like the risks of having such like bad buzz and so on. So there are many tools, many things you can put in place to lower the risks of such thing. But yes, at the end it remains a very human lever where lots of spontaneous content happens. I think, Josh, you want to say something?
Well, what I would say is that TikTok is a pretty safe platform. So TikTok has a lot of tools, a lot of moderation in place, which means they are actively checking what's happening on the platform. So because often creators and people do become in breach of that and will get their account blocked for a while. So just like Instagram, just like other platforms, there are those tools in place. And so they are actively monitoring what's happening on their platform and making sure that people keep in line with kind of,
with the community rules as a whole. But of course, saying I don't like this product would be compliant with the community rules. So of course, let's not be confused. Like say I don't like or I like is compliant with community rules, whether it's Instagram, Twitch, YouTube, or TikTok. But so there is nothing special about TikTok when it comes to taking risks of activating social media. Of course, there are moderation points when it comes to brand accounts or brand pages. If you do tomorrow a live shopping event, there will be tons of tools as well to moderate the discussion. But there is nothing special on that regard for TikTok. It would be a risk of social media as a whole.
Okay, great. And before we wrap up, because we've had quite a few questions coming in, which is fantastic, but was there any specific question either of you spotted that you wanted to quickly address? I mean, we can pick these up offline and come back to people after the event.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. We will, I mean, we know who asked what,
Yeah,
so we can for
can-
sure follow up.
you can follow up.
And if you have more, again, we are at your disposal. You have our email address, and this will be also shared during the recording sharing. So no problem at all with continuing this discussion afterwards. So don't hesitate.
Right. And as we mentioned at the start, in the resources section on the platform, you can access that, the ebook we mentioned, plus some of the videos you've seen with sound. Yeah, I think it's time to wrap up now. We've just gone over the hour. So thank you for attending today's session, TikTok for Marketers webinar. Thanks for all the great questions and taking part in our poll. Before we close, I'd like to thank Territory Influence for partnering with London Research to make this event happen. And as mentioned at the start, those of you listening live will be receiving a link to download an on-demand version of the webcast. So that's it. Thanks everyone for tuning in. And please do keep an eye out for future London Research webinars. And of course, feel free to follow up with Territory Influence with any further questions or information. Have a good day, everyone.
Thanks everyone, and thanks London
everyone.
Research for having us. Have a nice day.
Thank you. Bye.